Welcome to Viewlittle, week 19. I'm Frank.
I'm Finn.
Nobody told me there'd be a dragon.
The dragon in the room is good and evil this week, right?
It's our sources in opposition. It's our villains. Mm-hmm. It's our villainy.
And we are the heroes.
It's the heroes that are going up against that villainy.
Right.
So let's talk villains. Let's talk villainy. What would you say is the biggest villain here at play? The biggest oppositional force of this movie? What are we to think of as bad? Who's the baddie?
Colonialism.
I mean, yeah.
Patriarchies.
Yeah.
Sexism.
Yeah.
If we're talking about primary antagonists, it would be Moodfly. But it's tough to say that because he serves secondary role in terms of that.
Yes.
Where he's not the thrust of the plot.
I think the argument is there that it could be the primary antagonist is grief.
Right. But if we were to compare us to Lord of the Rings again, right? The primary antagonist isn't like the Nazgul, right?
Sure.
It's not the person who's in the movie searching for the ring the entire time. It's the
big bad guy at the
Sauron,
end.
Yeah,
the big boss. But
then again, it feels like Sauron has more of an impact in that story than Jim Broadbent does in this one.
Well, isn't Sauron grief?
Yeah, I mean that is like the antagonist. It's man versus self, right?
I think so.
And then through reshoots and rejiggering the story, it was changed to man versus man.
I suppose so.
And then also man versus nature, with nature being constipation and a dragon.
Also the sea killing Lily.
Yeah.
So grief is acting in opposition of Dolittle, who is supposedly our main hero. But that's not the only force that's working against characters. We have some of the minor characters like Chi-Chi, who is fighting against fear itself. Mm-hmm. We have Yoshi, who is fighting against cold.
No, Yoshi, there's not really antagonist in that one. That's just
being cold.
It's friendship, bro.
Well, but he gets saved from...
That's a quote I just quoted
They save him from the cold.
Yeah, okay, Yoshi versus cold.
Yep.
Plimpton
versus loneliness.
Sexuality.
Mm-hmm. Accepting himself.
Acceptance of self, yeah.
Except he's not really...
He's pushing away from the only person who understands him. So yeah, I guess loneliness works.
Sort of, loosely.
Polly
doesn't have anything.
No nemesis.
She has no nemesis.
It's James.
No, it is James a little bit. James's nemesis is Dylan.
The audience nemesis is James.
Yeah. There are a few other oppositional forces, like Kevin is against Stubbins because Stubbins shot him. As far as minor characters go, I believe that's sort of it.
Grizzly versus...
Well, that's...
grief.
Yeah,
that's grief.
That's also grief. Two sides of the same coin there.
Stubbins is
his is a little... It's bigger, but it's also...
I would say...
not present in the movie.
That's another one of man versus self, because it's... Or man versus nature.
It's man versus society.
Oh, yeah,
right?
That's the other one. You're right.
He's fighting society
that's
because
correct.
His uncle's family doesn't accept him for who he is, which is not a hunter.
You can almost say that's nature versus society. That's like a theme in the movie as well.
And that sort of plays with the William Price stuff.
Yeah, that's the juxtaposition between Blair and Dolittle.
Dolittle is William Price, vegan, nature man, and Blair is quack science, machines, capitalism.
No, not really. I'll see it. No. But I think it is. So for antagonists, Blair is the main antagonist, right? Still, or what would you quantify? Who is the protagonist?
The top to the bottom?
Yeah.
Of main antagony all the way through. Grief is number 1, I think.
Okay, Grief, yes.
Number 2, it's got to be Lord Badgley.
Okay, and then...
because he's killing the queen, and he wants to take power. Number 3 is Blair, who's an accessory of...
he's the foil, that's the word.
He's the foil of Dolittle, he's the accessory of Badgley.
Yeah.
Number 4 is Stubbins fighting society.
Stubbins against society. Okay, so list the protagonists. Who's the main protagonist?
It's Dolittle, right?
I think there's an argument for Stubbins.
I don't think there is, because he's such a witness to everything. He from the first scene in the operating room where he's looking through this window
and he's literally describing what's happening.
Yeah.
Like in a book, that scene would make sense because it's him describing what happens.
Writing in his journal to the audience.
Dolittle is speaking to the animals and they're speaking to him in their own languages. And that line makes a lot of sense in a book. Mm-hmm. But seeing it happen visually and then him repeating that out loud to Lady Rose, who was also witnessing it. So yeah, you're right. Stubbins is the audience.
He's hanging out with us and we're watching the events unfold and we have a decision to make. Are we going to operate against society and allow people to not kill animals, not be hunters?
He has a certain, we hunt things, he frees things.
He does. He sort of has that. Yeah.
Time is all, though.
Time is all.
And I think around 92 minutes.
It is interesting.
84. Wow.
I think that as the audience, we're looking at our uncle and we're told that we're odd.
Yeah.
Right.
If I could change a scene in this movie, it would be that scene, him addressing his wife, except it would be him addressing the camera directly and then his wife being off screen.
And Arnold would look at the camera and say, "You're a very odd. You're very odd.
You're a very odd boy."
You'd stare directly. It'd be framed up right at the audience.
He's a very odd boy, but he winks. There's like a chorus and it's the audience is supposed to say it and it's time is all, give it time.
Is that the boy? I hadn't really thought about how often Stubbins is referenced as the boy.
Yeah. He is the archetypical boy.
He's a very odd boy. Is that the boy? I'm worried about the boy.
But okay, so that's another point to Stubbins being protagonist is he does go through a coming of age.
He does get addressed as Stubbins at the end of the movie.
He does and he saves the queen. Dolittle doesn't save the queen. We save the queen.
That's because Dolittle's grief main arc got resolved. We're in the epilogue at that point.
See, I would argue the main arc is the Badgley thing, and the side character's grief arc finally wraps up. Thank God. We get our heroic Stubbins.
I wish he had one more thing to do.
Stubbins.
Instead of a power slide.
He really, in like a lot of scenes, he doesn't really have a lot to do except when he's like Deus Ex.
Like the mannequin challenge on the boat.
That might actually not be a stand-in, but a mannequin. It's a shot from the back where he's completely still and his arms are in like an awkward like...
directly at his side. Standing completely still as Yoshi says, "This is going to be cold, but I'm coming in hot." And jumps off the boat to hook up the whale.
There's so much movement in that scene that
he stands out because he's perfectly still, not moving.
And then the fact that he doesn't seem to do anything except when he needs to save Dolittle.
Yes, we see him. Do you want to run through a list of everything he does in the movie? I think we could do it pretty quickly.
Okay. Like to further the story.
Yeah.
Okay.
Shoots the squirrel.
Shoots the squirrel. Brings Kevin to
Dolittle Manor. Follows Polly.
Okay. He's not in anything. Then he hides in the trunk.
Well,
like he doesn't do anything. That he's in the
jumping
trunk.
through the window of the house to deliver the squirrel.
Well, that's like he's the squirrel deliverer.
Okay. I see what you're saying. So that's not like a
So he gives him the squirrel. He doesn't really have any lines. They're like not very important, and then he narrates for the audience, and then he's kind of out of it, and Lady Rose is doing most of it. And then he hides in the trunk when he's told he can't come with him. Now he's his apprentice, but he doesn't do anything until he brings the bags, and
which he doesn't actually have anything to do.
Right, he literally just brings
the bags off screen, basically, and you sometimes see him milling around in the background.
Yeah,
so he's not actually doing anything. He's just sort of witnessing it as we are.
And then he is dropped off home because Doolittle doesn't want him.
He lays in his bed,
and then his narrative starts. He jumps on the boat. There's a whole chase scene. He cleans the boat while we watch Doolittle interact with the animals
and the other animals.
And then the only time he's used is when Doolittle needs him.
He needs him to be a tripod so he can look at the enemy ship. He needs him to carry the tubes
or something
for the dive suit
that we never see.
Supposedly for the dive suit. Who knows?
There's never any tube on the helmet, is there?
It must be like internal tubes for breathing, but
we've never discussed that, where the dive suit makes no sense.
The tubes seem worthless
because there's no
tubes
oxygen.
Suggest that it would be like something that runs like in a cord up to the top, to the surface.
The whole point of a dive suit,
how does he breathe?
For that depth is oxygen supply, but there's no oxygen, right?
Right, he's just on a regular rope.
Because it's like for pressure, so it'd make more sense if he was just snorkeling.
He should be just snorkeling, actually. The dive suit is totally pointless.
Except it gives you an Iron Man scene.
You're right. That's the only reason to have a dive suit. Why didn't we notice that before?
And then
we accepted the dive suit at face value without thinking about it.
We really did. He then saves Doolittle. That's his next action.
Yep.
He grabs the rope.
Grabs the rope.
He's accepted by Doolittle. And then Doolittle uses him to bounce ideas off and like explain to the audience Monteverdi.
Right. He's an exposition brick.
And then Monteverdi happens. He doesn't do anything until they get to the room, and then he goes to steal the journal, which honestly would make more sense if Doolittle did that.
Yeah.
Because it would make more sense that he got caught, and then, like, honestly, Rizzoli should catch Doolittle at some point. Like, it makes no sense for his guards to.
It should have flipped Doolittle and Stubbins.
And it would have also made, like, you could have had, like, a fun, like, he knocks him out scene. Like, he turns over, you see him, and bank. And then Stubbins doesn't do anything except he needs to bring the journal to the British to keep the narrative going.
And he has nothing to do on Eden Tree Island.
He tells James, but again, it would make more sense if Doolittle told James.
Stubbins doesn't really need to be in this movie.
No, he doesn't. Oh, that's what we're figuring out.
Yeah. Because he's the audience.
Let's see. And then what does he do after that? He doesn't do anything after that.
The 15-second slide is his next action.
Well, no, Doolittle tells him, "You're my apprentice. You keep her calm."
And all he does is say, "I don't think anyone heard that."
All he does to keep her calm is just say that.
He stands there there's one scene where he's standing there and his hands are out. Like you would approach, I don't know, a rabid dog in an alley.
Okay, now we're just
you got your hands out and you're like, steady.
It's the Jurassic World hands.
That is what it is. It's Jurassic World hands.
Chris Pratt,
raptor hands. That's exactly what it is.
And I'm just going to go ahead and say it. That's just he doesn't know how to act with CG. Because like
right.
That's what it is. It's like someone who doesn't know where something should be, and it looks unnatural.
I think you're absolutely right about that, because just before that happened, when they turn her on her side, he's standing there in like a weird pose to turn her. It looks really bizarre.
You're right. And also in that scene where he says, "I think no one heard that," he should say something like, "Ooh, stinky."
That's
what I want. Anyway, he does the 15-second power slide and he saves the queen. But that scene was always weird to me, that it takes Doolittle out of it. Like, it almost would have made more sense for him to throw Minnie to Lady Rose.
It would have made more sense.
I think what happened is, this is like going back to like the first couple episodes when we were talking about rewrites and stuff, where there was clearly a purpose for Stubbins, and then I feel like he was kind of written out of it.
I think you're right. He had to have actually been a useful character.
Yeah, he really doesn't do too much. And maybe that was the point. Maybe it was more Dolittle focused. So the reason why it's odd is they gave him more things to do. That could also be true.
That's possible, I guess. They looked at it and they said, Doolittle's sad and depressed, and we want someone that children can watch the movie and integrate themselves with.
And like his son character is not helping with his depression.
Right.
So let's like change that. But it's one or the other. Like I think they mess with the Stubbins character, and that's why it's weird.
Do you think he could be edited out of the movie?
I think he could be edited out of the movie.
That's really funny.
Like the only scene is the chase scene.
Yeah, which you could just edit out the chase.
Yeah, you could just take out that whole scene.
You don't need it.
And then for the rope, it would just make like
Yoshi and Plimpton. It would make more sense if Plimpton grabs it and screaming, Yoshi, help, help, because then you got their dynamic. Right?
Yeah, I think the reason why that doesn't happen is he literally can't grab a rope. It would make less sense for the ostrich to nab it in his beak. That whole scene's never made sense because Stubbins grabs like a 400-pound dive suit with at the very edge.
We realize now we didn't even need this dive suit. I mean, the other thing is, this dive suit is to go deeper faster, right?
Right.
I think that's part of the intent of it. But he doesn't have to go very deep to harness the whale.
No, he doesn't. That's why it's weird. And it's like the other thing is like it does keep you pressurized.
But he's not going deep enough for that to matter. He's not going deep enough. And if he was harnessing a whale like 10,000 leagues below the sea.
And if he did do that, he'd get the bends because he's coming up to the surface too quickly.
Yeah, true. Like, what's going on with this dive suit?
It's so ridiculous, and it makes it impossible. Like, it would make more sense that there was just a rope tied around him and he was in a wacky looking bathing suit.
Yes, because he says the line, I need to change it to something a little less comfortable. And it should be like a Speedo.
Oh, no, I was thinking like one of those 1920s, like
full body swimming suits with stripes
chest
on it.
Yeah.
And, yeah. Big old flippers on his feet. That's hard to walk. You can't walk in them.
He has like awkward, like steampunk looking
goggles that he's created himself.
Yeah.
And they make his eyes like super big, so it looks like a Snapchat filter.
You can literally just give Chi-Chi grabs the rope. He can just finish what he says, and then Chi-Chi grabs the rope.
But who fights the tiger?
Chi-Chi still fights the tiger. He has like... So what happens is this.
I think it should be...
He drops the rope, right? He drops the rope. Plimpton tries to grab it and can't, and he yells, and then Chi-Chi snaps out of it and grabs it.
I think it's better if all the other animals except Chi-Chi grab the rope. So like the capuchin monkeys come over. So it's like the team effort of every other animal catches the rope and makes it okay. Like also, all of these other animals added up equals a Chi-Chi.
You know,
because this time he's not in a 400-pound dive suit for no reason.
Yeah, you're right.
So you don't need like that much extreme. Wow, this movie would be better without Stubbins, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I think so. That's such a realization.
It's taken us 19 weeks.
At the beginning of this, I always thought he was like the main character.
I did too, to be honest.
Because like all the like hero moments in the movie are Stubbins.
Yeah, he goes and steals the journal to get it, and he catches the rope to save Dolittle, and he saves the queen at the end.
And it would just make more sense if you took out that character and distributed those moments across the animals.
And it would build up their characters a lot more. And probably make Dolittle more likable.
Or it would make him more cult leader-y. Because he literally is still not doing anything, but...
Yeah, my brain's a little bit blown right now that...
How many times have I seen this movie that I've never realized you could just take Stubbins completely out of it and it wouldn't really change too much?
I kind of want to try it. Just cutting him out.
I think the one thing that is missing is Dolittle needs a character to relate his grief to.
It's sort of there in the dragon, but it's such a...
No, I mean like when he's on the boat, he has like the first flashback and then Stubbin goes up and interrupts him and he's like weird about it. And that's like a necessary scene. And then there's on the boat where he's talking about Lily. He's explaining Monty Birdie. And then there's the big speech, right? Where Stubbins is like, I believe in you. That's what he really does. But those are 3 scenes So I guess the question is could that just be Polly?
I mean, yeah.
Okay, so we just replaced Stubbins with Polly, right? So at the beginning of the movie, we don't need a scroll thing. There's like a rift between Polly and Dolittle that you see. Like, it's in the movie. So instead of her bringing another human in, she comes directly from the palace, or she comes with Lady Rose. So now she is the narrative thrust character. She is the person, like, the humanizing element. And instead of her, like, I brought a human to you, like, she is now, like, the person who's trying to, because he, like, cast her away for the last, they haven't talked for 8 years or however long it's supposed to be.
7 years.
7 years. And then that would make more sense, because then when he's opening up to her, she can also reciprocate and be like, because there was that, she's like, I miss her too, like, I was there too. And I think with him being Doolittle's son, I don't know how that was worked out, but I think that's like the idea with grief, right? Is that
right,
they both lost.
They both lost. Stubbins lost his mother. Doolittle lost Lily.
And that makes sense if you insert that into the movie, is that Stubbins is also grieving.
Yeah, it would make more sense because his character would actually have a purpose.
A purpose, which it's just weird. Because the idea that Doolittle, who's a closed person, is relating all this to a 10-year-old boy who he doesn't like.
He doesn't dislike him.
He doesn't like him until he's on the boat. He's kind of annoyed with him. Pretty much all the boat is positive.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's what we realized. And it's like, if they wanted to rework the movie, maybe they should have just cut out Stubbins completely.
For the way that it's structured?
Yeah.
Yes. For the way they decided to end up structuring it, he should have been cut out. Or just be content with him being the audience view portal, I guess.
Okay, well then, here's my counter argument to that then. He should be the one narrating.
It should be from his perspective, like not from Polly's.
Yeah,
it should be from the perspective of I never knew.
When I was a young boy.
When I was a young lad, I never really knew.
When I was
I didn't want to be a hunter. I thought that was all there was in life. But then something happened. Something happened that changed everything. Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, it should be that. He should be narrating, and you don't know it's him until the end. He's just like a very posh British voice, and you're like, huh, that's weird, and it's clearly Stubbins, but...
Oh, is that who that was? It has taken us 19 weeks to think about how useless Stubbins is, so...
It's because I have always rooted for Stubbins. So we took notes again.
We did take notes again.
And I have some things written down. I'm going to see if any of these are
worth sharing.
Speaking on Stubbins, right? There's like a really funny scene where he has to scroll out the gate and he checks to see if what he's carrying is an animal before he knocks.
Right.
And I wrote down that Henry just... Right? It's Henry, right? It's not Harry.
It's...
Henry or Harry Collett?
Harry.
You always said one of them and it was wrong.
It's Henry. It's Harry.
Henry or Harry, he's like living the role. He was embodying the role where
he wasn't sure, couldn't remember if he did have an animal in his satchel.
It's so funny. And then speaking on that, there's just a lot of weird Stubbins things. And I'm glad this is being brought up now. When Stubbins is trapped, there's always been the question on how he gets down. Mm-hmm. Well, another part of that is, where does Yoshi go?
Yeah, Yoshi just decides to leave Stubbins hanging out in this net.
And again, it would make more sense if Yoshi was the one who let him down.
Well, maybe what's the purpose of this trap being there? It's obviously to catch intruders running across the lawn,
I guess.
So maybe like they catch people a lot and they leave them up there.
Well, also the idea is that, like, if he would have just continued, well, no, because Lady Rose goes up to it, so it's clearly by the entrance. It's clearly on your way,
on the path. Yeah.
So maybe it's just to catch any person who tries to come. And then the boy,
the mailman at the end, the mail boy, the message boy.
I also have Wizard's Chess written down because I just really want to know the rules. We didn't mention this last week, but the audio description is that the king is moved to take the queen, and the king is moved like 4 spaces.
Right, so it's not traditional chess where the king can only move 1 space at a time.
And the king also can take a piece without...
The mouse doesn't land in the same space as the mouse that it's attacking.
Yeah.
To destroy it. It is able to reach over a space with its weapon. So it has a range.
Yeah, it goes next to it and smacks and then stays where it is. It doesn't take its place.
So it's some sort of interesting rules of warfare are going on.
I wrote down the birds. It's weird that there's only one main bird character when he says, like, the birds will show you out. And there's, like... So going back to whales, right? Or going forward to the whales, why isn't it birds?
Why wouldn't they use birds to track them instead?
Yeah.
That would probably make more sense than
because
whales.
It's not like the whales can be harnessed anymore. He can't harness whale power.
Right, because the harness got blown up on the ship, which we also need to talk about. Where does Dolittle get this ship?
Where does he get the ship?
Because the ship that Lily sails away on at the start of the movie is destroyed in the storm. So then Dolittle decides to go out while he's grieving and buy a ship and name it the Water Lily after Lily. Is that what's going on?
And like, if the queen, like, how
Dolittle is said to have shut his gates and in grief and not gone out anymore. So why does he have a boat?
You know, it would be such a power move by the queen, knowing that he doesn't really want to help her, to like have a boat that's a remake of his dead wife's boat
rebuilt
and put him on it. That would be such a power move.
But the queen's too crippled on her bed. She can't do that. She's not capable of enacting such a power play.
Oh my goodness. I also wrote fajitas for dinner.
Oh, fajitas for dinner.
If you're a longtime fan of the show, you'd get that one. Going off of fajitas for dinner, what's with the beard, right? Why did he shave his beard?
So he looks presentable to the queen. The animals are all obsessed with the monarchy and keeping up appearances.
They are, yeah.
And which is strange because they're also the ones who are talking in like bro fratty dialect.
Yeah. Well, they missed the queen.
That must be what it is.
Yeah, they're from 2023, right? You're 2022.
Right, yeah, that's what it is. They're from right after Queen Elizabeth died.
Yeah.
And so they're going back in time and they're like, wow, the queen is still alive now, Queen Victoria.
They're in like the far future.
We need to keep
her
alive.
They're in like 2040 or something, 2050.
Some of them could be. Well, some of them are from the 40s.
Yeah, you're right.
So, just depends.
They've only heard good things.
Good things about the queen. They want to keep this one alive.
Oh, there's another... So, cash only?
Dolittle says that he only takes cash.
It's a bit of an asynchronous...
Dolittle line.
Yeah.
It's the only asynchronous Dolittle line?
I think so.
You could also say, like, the psycho analysis of Barry.
Because it's just...
is asynchronous.
Yeah. But I also wrote down astral orbs.
Right, that's how Barry is communicating with his mother.
Yeah.
Because it says he talks like he's been calling her.
Yeah, he's like, because she's like in the jungle.
You know what I think it must be?
What?
The time portal. He must be using it to send letters to the future to talk to his mom.
Well, see, I was thinking it was astral orbs.
Could be astral orbs as well, but I think it's more likely, knowing all of the other animals that are also time traveling, that he's there's like a phone booth set up somewhere, and he's
you're Whovian is what I'm hearing. Gotcha. Big Doctor Who nerd over here.
I should have said something like
yeah, really showing your hand here.
I should have said
you know what I think it is?
What?
I think he calls them astral orbs, but really they're like technology. It's not
just
magic at all. Yeah, it's just a cell phone. Well, in 2050, not many people know this, but cell phones are going to be
able to call back through time.
No, they're going to be transitioning to spherical shapes.
Because it's easier to hold them.
Yeah,
in the human hand,
and you can
throw them around.
They have more purpose, right?
Yeah,
dogs will fetch your phones easier.
Right, so you can They're multi-use. You can use them to play sports.
And you can peer inside of them.
Right.
You don't have to, because I've always thought like about flipping phones, like how annoying it is to have to flip it open.
It would be so much better if it was just right
an
there.
orb.
Just an orb, yeah. You see orbs in nature all the time. Fruit, orbs,
Yeah.
rocks,
And like
boulders.
if we think about mollusks for a second,
It's a really strong shape.
right? Like I think slugs are like the ultimate evolution of like a mollusk because they finally ditched their like shells. So like clam shells, yeah, no.
Right, yeah.
I want just naked
right,
orb.
just the orb. Yeah.
Yeah.
You could say the pearl, if you will.
The pearl, yes.
It's time that we evolve.
Because everyone knows that in a clam, the pearl is like the brain of it. So when you remove it, they have to grow another brain. And similarly in a phone, like why not just peer directly into the brain? I've said that so many times in my life.
I've heard you say it a lot.
Also,
anyway.
like going back to like wizards, they used orbs. So I think we should really go back to that.
Yeah.
What'd you write down? Do you have any worthwhile notes?
Most of the things that I wrote down was trying to keep track of villainy stuff. The only thing that I think we haven't addressed is
The dragon.
what Moodfly's villains
Right.
are. So Moodfly wants history to remember him. So his is like a drive for importance.
Well, that just, again, puts him at odds with Doolittle, is he's the foil. Because, like, Doolittle doesn't care about that. He
Doolittle doesn't care if he's remembered or not.
He literally doesn't care if the queen lives or dies.
Right.
Except when it concerns him.
Whereas Moodfly wants to be in the history books.
Moodfly sees this as a stepping stone opportunity.
That's all I got. I also have Plimpton and Yoshi's dads are also villains.
Yeah, they are. Plimpton's dad because he's just a jerk.
Yeah.
And Yoshi's dad because he left him.
Right. Which I guess in the animal kingdom, you wouldn't really judge him for that, but
I don't know enough about bears. I think
are bears sad? I wonder if they are.
Yeah, I don't think bears have emotions from what I've heard. But you're like going off of that, like I'm pretty sure, I don't know for polar bears, but for other bears it is like the mom raises.
Right.
Which isn't the case for all animals, but at least for non-polar bears, I know that's the case. I don't know about polar bears. I don't think they have family units.
Do ostriches have family units? Do they flock together?
I think they do.
I know nothing about ostriches other than their...
I'm pretty sure they do, but I also don't know.
I never think about a pack of ostriches romping around in the wild together.
It would be a flock, right? I have no idea.
I think it'd be a pack because they're like raptors. You'd say a pack of raptors.
A pack of raptors?
Yeah.
I don't think they're raptors, but
they're the closest thing to raptors that we see. I mean, I guess emus are a little closer, but
okay, so yeah, it's like chicken, so it's like a family group.
So it's a pack.
Okay, so what is no, so
well, you get a pack.
The dominant hen mates with the territorial male, and then they share the task. The territorial male is polygamous and may mate with other females. The other females also may mate with wandering males. So a male has a territory,
and then the females roam between territories.
Probably. So, and it sounds like they are a pack. So that is like chickens, I think. I think chickens are like that too.
Yeah. You'd say pack of chickens as well. Because like you go to McDonald's, you get a 10-pack or a 20-pack.
I hate when they bring them out uncooked. Like, no.
I really wanted to say that McDonald's joke right away, but then you kept reading about the family unit.
It's so good. You know, and do you know who also has like a family like that? What other thing? Gorillas do something like that too.
Gorillas have packs?
It's a territorial male and then like a family unit with females and kids.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so of course Plimpton has a bad father figure. Makes sense.
Yeah, because the territorial males.
Yeah. So that was a good joke. Can we rewind? Can we go back to that?
To the pack of chickens?
Yeah, back to chickens. That's really good.
Thank you. I'm pretty proud of it.
But you know what the issue with that? They don't call it a pack. They call it a 10-piece. So, you know.
Okay. You're right.
We actually have two special guests in the studio today.
Elliot and Elsie.
Say hi, guys. Thank you, guys.
Do you have anything else to add? Any other villainy thoughts? The biggest,
I have so many villainous thoughts.
the biggest villain of the Dolittle movies is Universal Studios for making them reshoot.
Yeah.
Release. Do the Gagan cut.
Do the Gagan cut.
Everybody get this trending. Do the Gagan cut.
Robert Downey Jr. is by far the biggest villain for not the accent, but for the colonoscopy scene. Like,
Yeah.
if he was the one who came up with that.
Yeah, he's the biggest villain. You're
Or
right.
maybe it's.
I want to talk about that for a second.
Well, you know, that might
I
be
have a-
heroism.
It is heroism. You're
Yeah.
right, but it's also not. It's also villainy. I have a conspiracy theory,
Right.
and it's about the reason that scene got inserted into the movie.
Yeah, I've already heard it. You've already told me, so we don't have to go.
You're right. I'm gonna share it with.
Okay, I guess.
Here's what it is. Universal came to them and they were like, "Hey, this movie, we don't like your sad Dolittle movie. We got to pump in some fart jokes. We got to ramp it up, and we need to redo the ending." And then Dolittle and Gagan looked at each other and they were like, "This was supposed to be our Oscar movie. This was a heartfelt, beautiful tale about dealing with grief and family bonding." Then they turned to each other and they said, "You know what? If they're going to make us do this, here's what we're going to do. We're going to make it the most ridiculous thing that we can. And then they're going to put it in all of these theaters all around the world. And it's going to be a big laugh for us. We're going to take our $20 million and be laughing." And then they put in a dragon impacted bowel scene.
You know, part of that makes sense. Robert, he never won an Oscar, and I don't think he was nominated, right?
He was nominated for Tropic Thunder, Best Supporting Actor.
Oh, that's right.
And there was one other, I think, that we talked through in our Oscar episode.
But he never won, right?
I don't think so.
So
I don't remember what the first Oscar nomination was, but I don't think he won.
Okay, so put yourself into his shoes. You've assembled an Oscar-winning director and writer
And cast, and costumes,
and cinematographer,
and
you have Danny Elfman
doing the score, who has been nominated for Oscars and is well known. You have a massive budget. This was an awards movie.
This was an awards movie.
This was a piece de resistance. This was the big one. He's done with Avengers. He's finally free of that contract. He can make a real drama.
Yeah, and now he's gonna have to go back and make another Avengers
Right. To pay the bills.
to pay the bills. You know, I wouldn't be surprised if there's a cameo in the next one.
He's pretty much been doing cameos though, of like voice
Has he?
acting. Yeah, and like the Spider-Man ones. He has like voice lines.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
No, I meant just like, I bet there's like a flashback scene.
They're gonna either go to an alternate timeline
Yeah.
or they're going to go back in time and do a movie that's set in like the 1990s. Look, Iron Man's still alive.
He's just been cast back. Oh, that's some like Doctor Who. Oh no.
It's one
Classic
of the,
Frank.
Let's go to the extremes.
Just always bringing it back to Doctor Who. Can't believe this, man.
Did somebody call a doctor?
Because like every time we hang out, it's always Doctor Who, and then we watch Doolittle.
My favorite doctor is Dr. John.
Doctor, yeah. It's the Doolittle one, yeah.
The 18th Doctor.
The 18th Doctor. That's a good title for this.
The 18th Doctor.
The 18th Doctor.
That's really good.
It's good.
Yep.
Too bad this is the 19th episode. But,
What?
right?
You're right. Well, it's episode 18, but week 19.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I'm the idiot.
So
I see
think
what I've
since it's
done.
episode 18,
Yeah, it's
I
the
can
18th
call it the
Doctor.
18th Doctor.
Yeah.
Even though it's the 19th time we've watched it this year. Which is, it's very, like, in terms of what was I thinking with that, we started at episode 00,
Yeah.
which was like a,
hindsight being
maybe it would have made sense to have the episode numbers line up with the number of viewings that we've seen it.
I think it would have.
But it's more fun this way because if I have to think about how many times I've seen this movie, I have to take the episode number plus 1 and then I have to take that plus 1.
Yeah.
It makes it way easier for me.
Well, I remember when we did episode 0, part of it was like we didn't know
we were going to watch it.
Yeah, and then we're both like, well, it's the first week, we kind of have
watch
to.
It, yeah. Because we can't go this week of the year without watching it.
Yeah, so
right.
That's so funny.
Anyway, it makes more sense to do. So that they're one off.
What have you been up to this week besides rewatching Doctor Who again?
I have been. So I convinced my parents to buy a lawnmower it's a manual real lawnmower, like REEL, not REAL. It is real as well. It's a real mower and it's manual. So there's no gas. There's no loud noises.
Oh, why'd you do that?
Because I don't like loud machinery and smelling like gas. But you can go out into the backyard. There's 300,000 blades of grass. You can take this machine and you can walk over them and shatter 100,000 blades in complete silence. It's awesome. It's so great.
That seems like a lot of blades on the mower.
Well, I have 3 blades.
They break that quickly.
3 blades on the mower, 100,000 blades in the yard.
Oh, okay. I was thinking your mower was 100,000 blades and they shattered on impact.
No.
Obsidian.
It's the
wait.
The
So
other blades
how
that
long
I'm
does
shattering.
it take you? I'm kind of interested in this.
So as long as I do it every single week, it doesn't take me that long. It would be like half an hour, probably. But because I don't do it every single week and the grass gets really tall, I have to raise the blades and go over it, and I have to lower the blades and go over it.
Okay. So then
the long seed pod stems of grass that are like narrow shoots, the round ones, if they're too tall, it can't cut them. So you have to go around and pluck those. But the good news is no noise pollution. It's really great.
What happened?
Just my panting.
What about when the neighbors are mowing?
That's a good thing. I can mow at 12 o'clock at night.
You mow.
No one will know.
Do you wear a headlamp?
If I wanted to, I could.
But you don't.
I've never mowed at 12 o'clock at night. But I could.
Okay.
It's so quiet. It's so quiet. I'm endorsing real lawnmowers.
Oh, yeah.
Manual real lawnmowers.
They're
so quiet.
question.
They're really hard on hills and bumpy yards.
Yeah, you're kind of convincing me out of it.
Yeah.
Follow-up question. Do you wear headphones?
Yes. I can listen to anything because the blades are so quiet.
Follow-up question. So I wear headphones when I mow my lawn, and they have like noise canceling, right?
And you are operating a death machine without hearing its rattles? That's pretty dangerous.
I mean,
can you hear it launching stones at 80 miles per hour?
Yes, I can still hear the sounds of what I'm going over but I can't, like, it's not very loud, right?
But it is loud.
No, it's not, like, with
for
the
you
headphones.
it's not,
right?
But it is loud.
I mean, my neighbors don't seem to care.
That's because
when they mow their lawns,
we're
they
in a
don't care
noise
about
pollution
me.
world.
Okay, the point of this is, if you're wearing headphones anyway, that was where I was going to.
Yeah, but I can have the volume really low and listen to things that are not loud.
Okay.
Like, for example, can you listen to a podcast when you mow?
Yeah, I do. So, like, part of what, like, the noise canceling does is it, like, quiets it softens it enough so that you can hear the audio it's playing over it. So you don't really need it. Like, my headphones now are, like, kind of cheaper, so they're not so great at that. But when I had, like, my really nice ones, I could have the volume really low as long as noise canceling was down, because it does that. It, like, softens it enough. So
can you hear the nuances of your lawnmower's machine?
I can.
You can tell when it's...
I try not to because I don't really care, but... And I say this currently as I have 2 lawnmowers that don't work.
Death machines. That's what they are. Lawnmowers. Machines of death. Violent.
Violent death
the way
machines.
that they shatter the blades of their enemies on the lawn.
The only thing is I do mow with my eyes shut, so I wouldn't know if I mowed over someone.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. It's very dangerous.
Yeah, I know you do mow with your eyes shut as well.
I can because it's totally silent.
You mow
I can
when it's
hear,
midnight. So
I just passed that blade of grass because I can hear it. This is a long, strange tangent.
I'm kind of more intrigued. Honestly, the most that I've been intrigued tonight is hearing your lawnmower tales. Like, if you could just talk about lawnmowers every week, I think I'd prefer that.
I probably could. I mowed it for the second time, and it's only the second time. I've only mowed twice, so it takes me a long time. And
you said it doesn't take that long.
It wouldn't if I mowed more than twice. It's in what is it? May? What is today?
Oh gosh,
it's mid-May.
Oh yeah, I have two.
When is this coming out? May.
It will be May 17th. No, May 16th. It'll be May 16th when this comes out.
You're right. It'll be May 16th.
How does he do it?
I don't know
how does he do it.
I don't know how he does it.
I have to take my car in on May 15th, and that's Monday.
Have all of the Tuesdays of the year memorized because you know that's when Viewlittle episodes come out.
I'm excited every week. So follow-up question is, this is so stupid. Follow-up question: do you still have the old mower, or is it broken?
It's in the garage.
So if you needed to, you could.
Yeah, you could whip that one out, but it rattles.
Okay.
And it's loud.
Okay, so then. Second question.
Black smoke.
Second question.
Makes you smell bad.
Do you need to sharpen the blades? How often do you need to do that? Do you replace them?
It recommends that you do that once a year, but I've now used it for 3 years and not done it, not sharpened it.
Wait, you've used the push?
This is the third season of having it, I think.
Oh, I thought you just got it.
It might have been last year.
Okay.
But I think this is the third season of it.
Okay.
So in the gas costs, it's already paid itself off.
I don't think that's true. Mowers are pretty efficient.
Yeah, well, what's a gallon of gas cost? Like $400 these days?
That's fair. It doesn't, but yeah.
What's a barrel of oil cost right now?
Frank, a gallon. It's like $4.
Russia invaded Ukraine,
Oh, you're right.
Gas prices are through the roof. Not to mention all the spills of gasoline that happen, the toxic pollutants. That
I mean, if you just poured it correctly,
from all of the.
Okay, we're on a tangent of the tangent. I refuse to be locked into this new tangent. So, you've been doing this for a year.
This is either the third summer of it or the second summer of it.
So for replacing the blades, it no longer cuts through the seed pods.
No, it never did.
Oh, it never did. Okay.
They're super narrow, and the ones I'm talking about where
I think I do.
They stand straight up and they're cones and they're super thin.
I know what you're talking about.
Super thin, and you just got to go through and pluck those. It's not so bad.
It's not bad. Okay.
I like it. It brings me peace because it's like this.
Do you practice that while you mow the lawn?
Yeah, I'm actually the one making that sound. The mower's dead quiet. And that's me. I'm adding sound effects.
Yeah, because it's good to put you in the shoes of a bug that's about to get mowed.
Right.
And that's probably what they hear.
Well, that's the thing is that this thing, there's no bugs dying to this. Whereas mowers that are gas powered,
well, no,
they're buffeting them with hurricane force winds.
Okay, let me just say something. The first thing I do when I mow the lawn is I pick out all the bugs.
I believe you. Yeah. That sounds like you.
No. Wait a minute, I take that back.
I'm not surprised at all.
Okay, what have I been up to this week? Not much. Frank, where can you find us?
You can find us wherever you listen to podcasts. We're on Simplecast. We're on Spotify. We're on YouTube.
And then let's say I had questions about lawnmowers and lawnmower safety.
If you want to know more about real mowers, if you want to find out why you should get rid of your gas guzzling hogs, hurricane force hogs that you got out there, go ahead and shoot an email to drviewlittle@gmail.com. That's dr.viewlittle@gmail.com.
That was my nickname in high school. It was Gas Guzzling.
Hurricane hog.
That's what all the kids used to call me. Anyway, my name is Finn.
And I'm Frank.
And this has been Viewlittle.
And I'm out of here.
He's speaking to them, and they're speaking to him in their own languages.
I want to be an animal doctor.
I will come here one day and become his apprentice, and then I will speak to animals as well. One day I will own this place.